I've been fishing on chalk streams since I was a young boy. And when you're young, fishing is very much about catching fish. But as you get older, I think you get to respect your quarry more. And you get to understand the beauty which the chalk streams bring to the English countryside. Certainly for me, with every passing year, I love the rivers more and more. They mean more and more to me. It's just a whole beautiful microcosm of rural life, all evolved and set amongst this wonderful river. I never really thought they would be anything other than permanent. That I just arrived and they were there and I fished them and I always assumed they would be there forever. But clearly there are so many pressures on this crowded little bit of England that somehow you have a duty to try and preserve them. And it sounds a trope, you have to, preserve them for the next generation, but you really do. I mean, someone preserved them for me, and I need to do something to preserve them for the next generation because, as we know, these are incredibly special. They don't exist anywhere else, and once they're gone, they're gone. Chalk streams, they are entirely the product of man. If you could come back to the chalk stream region, if you say we're here 2,000 years ago, you'd just be in the middle of a swamp. But what happened was, because of the way the geology was laid down after the Ice Age, it left this very fertile soil, which was great for farming. And of course, early man soon worked this out, that if they could find some way of draining the bog to create farmland, it would be very productive. And so that's what happened. And what has happened over a course of 2,000 or 3,000 years is the bog has been drained, and the drains are what we call today our rivers. And you do notice that if a chalk stream is just left to go back to nature, you get a far less diverse collection of wildlife. You get a monoculture of a particular type. For instance, in the river itself, you just get this monoculture of particular types of weed and reed that block it. Whereas if you maintain it the way we do, we get a much greater diversity of flora and fauna. So I decided not only was I going to be a fisherman, I was going to be a river keeper. Well, I was, at this point, maybe 12 or 13. I was barely old enough to stand up in the river, let alone hold a scythe. So, you have to cut the weed in the river. It's one of the river management things, and someone had either told me about it or I'd read about it. So I decided I was going to cut the weed. So I literally just found an old scythe in one of our barns on the farm, got into the river and started cutting the weed. I mean, I had absolutely no bloody idea what I was doing. And, I was so hopeless at it, and so my love of chalk streams grew out of not just the fishing, but having this opportunity to actually look after them, and that's probably stayed with me for all my life. I mean, I love fishing, but I love the rivers much, much more. Thing is, if you stood on a bridge and looked down at a chalk stream, any chalk stream today, you think that looks absolutely perfect. Flowing, clear. The difficulty is that within that clear water, there's an awful lot of pollutants. The pollutants that are in the water today are far more toxic than they were, certainly in the early years when I started fishing. I mean, as a kid, I gaily drank chalk stream water when I was thirsty. I'm not so sure I'd do that today. Because chalk streams don't exist in a vacuum. When you save the chalk streams, you're not just saving the chalk streams. It's part of the British countryside, and the things that are wrong with chalk streams really apply to the whole of the British natural landscape. If we can cure the pollution issues we have on chalk streams, it will apply everywhere. If we can apply the same principles about agriculture, that can apply everywhere. If we can apply the same principles of water use, that can apply everywhere. And the simple fact is that if you keep pressurizing the natural environment, eventually it will snap. I don't think I love the rivers most for fishing. I think I love them because they're rivers. And I know in my heart of hearts, if for some reason I was taken away from the chalk streams forever, it wouldn't be so much that I miss the fishing, I miss the rivers.